Okay, big money. So, this is a great example of the type of guy that I generally prefer is a phenotype like this. Definitely not a phenotype like this. He's like half my attractive level. My attractive level is 8.61 with no makeup and no weave. So, I mean, from my perspective, I don't prefer a man who has a phenotype that's like this because it could make my kids look ugly. This is better look. Now, I also prefer this look. This is the preferred look. This look is the common look of which I will generally date as a guy that looks like that. Um, Not a guy that looks like this. You are talking about like more of the idea of a what they call a wigger or whatever. And I've said this already. Um, I don't really get along with people who are well acquainted with the hip hop subculture, I guess you could say. This has nothing to do with race either. I get along better with black people who are not associated with that subculture as well. It's just people who are a part of that subculture I'm not really fond of. And oh, this is my photo right here. This is a 9.12. This is with my makeup on, and then without the makeup, it's an 8.61. Um, so personally, to me, I just generally, don't have any preference towards someone who's unattractive. You should have known that already because you already knew that I said my reason for not being attracted to black men was not a social expectation. It's not that I think that black men are lesser men as people. I just think they're not attractive. And so you should understand for me, my interest in men is physical attraction. Generally, men that I date are between a 7 and a 9 in attractiveness. You should go about going about this in a better way. But the thing is, the person you are quoting got rid of that video, which was a good one, actually. But he got rid of it. Because there is a weakness, of course, in everyone's preference, but looks are not it for me. That's not my thing. All the men I've dated had this type of phenotype. They don't look old, used and abused and jailed like this dude. Like, I've never even considered trying to date a man like that. That'd be nasty as fuck. You have to think, because I imagine having sex, and oh, this is my photo, no makeup and no hair. But anyway, um, no fake hair, you get what I'm saying. Anyway, but I always imagine, basically, you know, having sex. That's what I imagine. I think about having sex with a person. How is that going to look? If I can't fit with someone who is a 4 and their bodies are misshapen and they're not attractive, I don't think that it really would be a good fit for me, you know. So for me, that's why I don't prefer black men. One, because physically, actually, that wouldn't fit on the crass level of how I am down there. I'm not black. You guys are. You would fit with a dark-skinned woman, and I've said this before. But you don't want to stay with your own image because you don't like your own image. Now, on the whole issue of, what I prefer, this is generally what I date is phenotypes like this, basically. You would say most of these fit in the 7 to 8 range. And, my preferential phenotype is something like this, where it's darker, a darker phenotype. This would be like an ideal phenotype. That would be what I generally date right there. Um, and I never date this. Never. So, yeah, that's it. As far as what else I wanted to say about this whole situation, I mean, like, you really thought that I never responded to someone making a video about me on that? I would definitely, of course, because for me, you have to understand, for white men, white women, that's my thing, really, because I've been on forums like Stormfront and like Zeta Boards, and I've dealt with a lot of races. And you really think that I just sit back and just hide in a corner? Why would I go into those spaces if I'm not prepared? You get what I'm saying? So I'm very outspoken about white people in that regard. Now, on the whole thing that triggered you, you were triggered specifically because I said that I had sex with white men only and I enjoyed the sex I had and have been having, honestly. I prefer smaller men in general. That's regardless of race, though. I mean, I've been with some men that I've dated. I've not had sex with them because they're too big, but they were like Asian and Hispanic and white. They're 90% white though, so that's why I thought he was white, but he came out to me and told me he was part Asian and part Hispanic. But people like that were too big never gave me any satisfaction. Never had sex with them. People who are a little bit bigger, like the Italian Irish guy, like I said, was it could happen, but I wasn't getting any pleasure. So for me, I mean, like I've always made sure that the men that I've been with and I've been having sex with were a good fit for me, basically, and I've honestly had really good sex, and so that's just how it is. Um, but I just think out of all this whole conversation, why don't you at least educate yourself a little? Because you didn't even know that women basically do get more horny around their ovulation days. You don't even know much about female sexuality. And that's the thing about men who think that they just want to destroy or hurt women and somehow that's going to physically give women pleasure. I remember Amanda Wakens talked about this with some commenters talking about past experiences with black men, and some of the commenters were saying that black men basically didn't give much of a care about pleasure for the woman, just wanted to basically try and get their penis in and just try and get their own nut off. Um, and that type of mentality, where you don't even know much about female sexuality, shows that you can't give pleasure to women when you don't even know much about female sexuality. So that's all I wanted to say there. Um, I think I basically shared everything and covered everything so far. Um, and as far as these videos that I had to share with you, um, I do have to reread them because I did use them on Google Voice. Also, one other thing, on the whole issue with other people, because I've gone after white men that did not say anything to me, like Greek and Cohen Nanik. And there's probably a few others. I don't pay attention to all the videos I've made. I've made 1,000 videos. So, I mean, of course, I'm not going to keep up with everything I've made videos on, but I'm pretty sure I've talked about white men a few times that I've had issues with or whatever. I've not agreed with them on one issue or something. But in this situation, I wanted to say, you can see that I am one to go really rough on white men, honestly. Even if they're not attacking me, I will go rough on them if it causes for the situation. If I feel like it has to do with the situation, I'm gonna go rough, basically. With Greek, you could see I went rough on him. I brought up the whole hybridization situation. I brought up Neanderthal blood. I brought it all up. Because to me, I like to bring it up when I feel a person is racist, and I felt like Greek was racist. Koenig, a different situation, a different angle to it. A lot of people thought it was really rough how I went about him, though, but it had to be said because there are a lot of people like him that are obsessed because they have different types of orientations going on there. So for me, I just tell the truth. That's just how it is. I tell the truth about you. I tell the truth about white person. I tell the truth about Hispanic men. I did a whole blanket video on Latino men. I don't do blanket videos on white men. One, because we have a majority of white men in our country. There's so much variation. There's more variation among white men than any other race of men because they're the majority. So I don't do blanket videos on them. But I did do basically a wide brush of a narrative of Latino men. And it pretty much covered everything that I think of them. Anyone can look at it. I'll share it later on maybe. But yeah, I'm not one who's white worshiping, Hispanic worshiping, or anything like that. I don't feel inferior about my race. I'm just attracted to men that are generally white, usually, sometimes Hispanic. Of the men I've had sex with, they've been white. One was half Hispanic, half Mexican, to be exact, half white. So I mean, like, for me, that's just how it is. Does that mean that I think they're better than me? No. Actually, I date them because I think they're equal to me, So I don't have that issue, I don't see white people as more attractive than black people just for being white. I just see people who are attractive, and most of the time that's going to be white men, Hispanic men, Indian men, and so forth. It's not going to be black or Asian men because you guys look like females. See, that's the thing with white men. It's not that they are just attractive for being white. They're more so, I think, just male. At least they look like a male. You don't look like a male. So when we talk about looks, that's what I'm saying. That's why they're an option, because they do look male and you don't. You see, I already said that my preference isn't specifically lighter hair like this, or phenotype, lighter skin. My preference is specifically like this, basically. But you can tell for me, it's basically a foundation. If you have a male foundation, then I can possibly find you attractive. You don't have a male foundation. Dark-skinned black men don't have a male foundation. And we've been through this so many times. You guys don't look male. You look feminine. You look like my mother. You look very female. This man does not look very female. He looks very masculine. And that's the difference with white men and black men. And that's why I have more of a preference towards white men. It's not that I think white is good. I just think white is at least fitting the requirement of being a man, and you aren't. So that's what I just wanted to get clear here, because it seemed like you thought that I was just attracted to all white men. No, I'm not. Racial wise, I'm actually attracted to more Hispanic men racially than white men, but I'm attracted to more white men in quantity because there are more white men in this country. Like I said, it's a benefit to be attracted to white and Hispanic men because they are 80% of the population. And as far as my sexual history, you can tell that, white men are the majority because most of the men I've had sex with were white. And I am dating someone who is white now. My boyfriend is white. So that's all I'm just saying here. I'm pretty much done with this video. Thanks for watching, everyone. Nice to clear the air, and have a great day. Like and subscribe, everyone. Comment down below, and have a great day.